When my 7-year-old son whispered that his father had a lover, I thought he was just making up stories. But what happened 3 days later changed everything and saved me from losing everything I owned. It was a quiet Sunday morning when my son Liam tugged at my sleeve. His voice was trembling. "Mommy, I have to tell you something." I smiled, thinking he wanted a toy or ice cream. But then he said words that froze my blood. "Daddy has a lady friend. And when you go on your trip, they're going to take all your money." I blinked, confused. "What are you talking about, baby?" Liam looked down, fidgeting. "I heard Daddy on the phone. He said when you leave, he'll move things to our new account." My heart pounded. I was supposed to travel for work the next morning, a 4-day conference abroad. My husband, Derek, had been distant lately. I had noticed late-night messages, hidden calls, but I never imagined this. Still, I didn't want to scare Liam. "It's okay, honey," I said, hugging him, but inside I was shaking. After he went to play, I sat down at my desk. I opened my bank app. Everything looked normal. Savings, investments, joint account, untouched. Still, my gut told me something was wrong. Derek came home that evening, cheerful. "All packed for your big trip?" he asked, kissing my cheek. His tone was sweet. Too sweet. I forced a smile. Almost. That night I barely slept. I kept replaying Liam's words. "They're going to take all your money." At 3 a.m., I decided to cancel my trip. Quietly, I emailed my boss. "Family emergency. Can't travel." Then, I made a plan. I would act like I was leaving. Let Derek believe everything was normal. The next morning, I kissed Liam goodbye and left the house, suitcase in hand. But I didn't go to the airport. I parked near our home and waited. 1 hour later, I saw Derek's car pull out. He wasn't going to work. He was wearing his favorite blue shirt, the one he wore on special days. My pulse raced. I followed him at a distance. He drove across town, to a small cafe near the river. He parked, and then a woman got out of another car. Blonde hair, red coat, smiling. Derek jumped out, hugged her tight, kissed her cheek. My hands clenched around the steering wheel. My son was right. I took pictures quietly. Then I followed them again. They drove to a bank. Both went inside. I waited 15 minutes. When they came out, Derek was holding a folder. I felt sick. I followed them again, this time to her apartment. He stayed inside for an hour, my eyes filled with tears. I drove home shaking. When I arrived, Liam was watching cartoons. He looked up and said, "You didn't go." I hugged him tightly. "You were right, sweetheart." That night, while Derek slept, I went through his study. His laptop was locked, but he wasn't careful with his notes. I found a folder labeled Project Freedom. Inside, bank printouts, 2 accounts, one in my name, one I didn't recognize, both linked to joint assets. My signature was copied, badly forged. He had been planning this for months. Every business trip I'd taken, he'd shifted money around. And now, when I was supposed to be away for 4 days, he was going to empty everything. I couldn't believe it. My husband, the man I trusted, was stealing from me. I closed the file and took photos of every page. My hands were trembling, but I was calm inside. It was time to protect myself and my son. I called my lawyer friend Angela at dawn. She was shocked. "Don't confront him yet," she said. "Move your assets first." Quietly, so I did. I moved my personal savings to a new secure account. I froze the joint one. I changed passwords, security pins, everything. Derek noticed nothing. He thought I was still abroad. He even texted me that night. "Hope your conference is going great, babe." I smiled bitterly. The next morning, I got a call from the bank. "Ma'am, your husband tried to withdraw from the frozen account. We stopped it." I felt both relieved and terrified. The trap had been set. Now I needed to see how far he'd go. I called Angela again. "We'll need proof of intent," she said. So I placed a small camera in the study. Then I told Liam we'd visit Grandma for a few days. But I stayed nearby, watching from the neighbor's window. That night, Derek came home furious. He tore through drawers, shouting, "Where's the money?" He called someone. It was her, the same woman from the cafe. "Don't worry," he said. "We'll find another way." I recorded everything. My heart was pounding. He was planning to forge new papers. My lawyer said, "That's all we need." The next day, I walked into the house with 2 officers and Angela. Derek froze. "You're supposed to be in Dubai," he stammered. I smiled coldly. "Trip canceled, but looks like you had your own plans." He turned pale. The officers showed him the evidence. "Forgery? Attempted theft?" they said. Derek tried to speak, but the handcuffs clicked. Liam ran to me, hugging my waist. "Is Daddy going away?" he asked softly. I knelt. "For a while, yes. But we'll be okay." The next few days were a blur of papers and court hearings. I felt heartbreak, but also peace. 3 days after Liam's warning, everything had changed. My life, my home, my trust, but not my strength, because my little boy saved me. And from that day on, I promised him, no one would ever deceive us again. We moved into a new apartment near the ocean. Every morning, sunlight filled our room. Liam would say, "Mommy, we're safe now." And I'd smile. "Yes, sweetheart. Thanks to you," he'd grin proudly. "I told you Daddy was sneaky." I laughed softly. "You did." Then one day, I found a small box on our porch. No note, just a photo inside. Derek and that woman, crossed out with red ink. My heart stopped. I looked around. No one there. Was it her? Was she angry? I called the police, but there were no fingerprints. Angela told me not to worry. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I double-locked the doors. I hugged Liam close. "Mommy, are you scared?" he asked. I nodded. A little. "Don't be," he whispered. "I'll protect you." My eyes filled with tears. The roles had reversed. The child had become my guardian. And in that moment, I realized, sometimes truth doesn't come from adults. It comes from the pure heart of a child. 3 days changed everything, but it also gave me a second chance to rebuild, to live free, and to never doubt the instincts of those who love you most. Because love and truth saved me. And I'll never forget the words that started it all. "Mommy, Daddy has a lover." I used to hear it with fear. Now I hear it as a warning from fate. My son's voice, my protector. My life changed forever because of it. Sometimes children see what adults refuse to. Sometimes a whisper can save everything. And sometimes betrayal leads you to freedom. 3 days. That's all it took. I closed my eyes, breathing in the sea breeze. "Thank you, Liam," I whispered, "for saving me." He smiled. "Always, Mommy." The sunset painted the sky golden. Our past was gone. Our future had begun. Love had survived. Trust had been rebuilt. And justice finally served. All because a 7-year-old boy had the courage to speak. The truth hurts, but silence destroys. And this time, the truth saved us. It had been 2 weeks since Derek's arrest. I thought life would finally calm down. But something still didn't feel right. The woman in the red coat, she hadn't disappeared. And that strange photo left at my door kept haunting me. Every night, I checked the locks twice. Liam had started sleeping in my room again. He said he felt safer near me. I didn't argue. I felt safer too. One evening, as I was washing dishes, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Mrs. Turner? A female voice said softly. Who is this? You don't know me, she whispered, but you should listen carefully. Derek wasn't working alone. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? There are more people. They wanted your accounts, and your company. Who are they? I asked. But the line went dead. I stood frozen, staring at my phone. My company. My late father's firm. It was the only thing I had left of him. Could Derek have dragged my business into this too? I opened my laptop immediately, logged into the company portal. Everything looked fine, at first. But then I saw new transactions I hadn't approved. Small, scattered payments to unfamiliar vendors. No, I whispered. Not again. I called Angela. She sighed heavily. It's possible Derek gave someone access before he was caught. What should I do? We trace every payment, she said firmly. But be careful. Whoever is behind this knows you're watching now. That night, I sat with Liam in bed, pretending to read. My mind was spinning, not working alone. Who else could it be? I thought of Derek's coworkers, his so-called friends. One name stood out. Victor, Derek's business partner. Charming, polite, always a little too curious about my accounts. I decided to test him. The next morning, I called him. Hi, Victor. It's Elena, I said cheerfully. Elena? Good to hear from you, he replied quickly. I'm just checking if you've heard from Derek. His lawyer said you two still had joint deals. There was a pause. Oh, no, Victor said too fast. Nothing ongoing. His voice cracked slightly. I smiled to myself. Got you. That's good, I said sweetly. Because the bank is investigating suspicious transfers. Another pause, then a shaky laugh. I'm sure it's just a mix-up. Maybe, I said. But the police will sort it out. I hung up. My gut told me Victor was involved, but I needed proof. So I set a trap. Again. That afternoon, I sent Victor a fake email. It looked like a security notice from the bank. It mentioned a new encrypted account in my name. If he tried to access it, I'd get a ping. 1 hour later, ping. I stared at my screen. IP address traced directly to Victor's office. My heart pounded. He'd taken the bait. I called Angela. We have him, she said. Send everything. We forwarded the logs and screenshots to the detective handling Derek's case. Within days, they obtained a warrant. But before they could act, Victor vanished. His phone was off. His apartment, empty. I felt the same dread return. This wasn't over. I doubled security on my house, installed cameras, alarms, motion lights. But 2 nights later, the power went out. The entire street went dark. Liam woke up crying. Mommy, the lights! I grabbed a flashlight, heart racing. It's okay, baby. Then I heard it, a noise outside. Footsteps, crunching on gravel. Who's there? I shouted. No answer, just silence. I dialed 911, whispering my address. Stay on the line, the operator said. I heard the back gate creak. My breath caught. Then, red and blue lights flashed through the window. The police arrived within minutes. They searched the yard, found footprints, leading to the woods, but no one there. The officer frowned. Looks like someone cut the power line intentionally. Who would do that? I asked, though I already knew. We'll patrol the area tonight, he promised. I nodded, hugging Liam tightly. The next morning, a package was waiting at my doorstep. No return address. Inside, a USB drive and a note. You should have stayed quiet. My hands trembled. I plugged the USB into a spare laptop, offline. A video file popped up. I clicked play. Security footage from my own office. Me, sitting at my desk weeks ago. Then, Derek and Victor entering after hours. They were copying files, talking quietly. Once she's gone, we move everything. She won't notice my chest tightened. They'd planned this far earlier than I'd realized, and someone still had access to those cameras. I looked around my house, paranoid. Was I being watched again? I called Angela. "This video proves conspiracy," she said. "Send it immediately to the detectives." I did. But later that day, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. "You think you won, Elena?" The voice sneered. "We know where you are." I froze. "Victor?" Click. The call ended. I grabbed Liam and left the house. We drove to Angela's place and stayed overnight. The next morning, the detective called. "Good news and bad news," he said. Good. We tracked Victor's location. Bad. He escaped before we arrived. But we found something else. What is it? A list of names and accounts linked to your company. Looks like a larger fraud ring. Oh my God. I sank into a chair. "Elena, this is bigger than you think," he continued. "We'll need you under protective watch for a while." I looked at Liam, his innocent face, still smiling through it all. "Whatever it takes," I said. For 2 weeks, we stayed in a safe location. Police monitored our home. Then, one night, an officer knocked on my door. We caught him. "Victor?" He nodded. "At the airport, trying to fly out with forged passports and documents." Relief flooded through me. "What about the others?" "They're still being tracked." "But you're safe now." I hugged Liam tight, tears spilling down my cheeks. "We're really free now, baby." He smiled sleepily. "Told you I'd protect you." I laughed softly. "Yes, you did." Over the next months, I rebuilt my business. Angela helped clear the legal mess. Derek and Victor faced trial. The judge read out their charges: fraud, forgery, conspiracy. I watched them in court, calm and silent. Derek avoided my eyes. Victor looked broken. When the verdict came, both were found guilty. The judge turned to me. "Mrs. Turner, you saved many others from the scheme." I nodded, tears in my eyes. Liam squeezed my hand and whispered, "Can we go home now?" "Yes, sweetheart." Home months later, I stood by our window, watching the sunrise. Peace. Finally. But I'll never forget how it all began. A small voice, a warning. "Mommy, Daddy has a lover." Those words saved my life. I learned to listen to instincts, and to my child. Now, we live without fear. I teach Liam that truth is a shield, even when it hurts. Every night he kisses my cheek and says, "Good night, hero mom." And I reply, "No, Liam, you're the real hero." Because without him, I'd still be trapped in lies. The past tried to destroy us, but we rebuilt stronger. Love and truth became our foundation. One whisper. That's all it took to change our lives forever. I looked at our family photo on the wall. Just the two of us. Smiling. Peaceful. "We made it," I murmured. Liam grinned. "We did, Mom." And for the first time in years, I truly believed it. The storm was over. The truth had won. Our new life had begun. And this time, no secrets. 3 years passed since that storm in our lives. Liam had grown taller, braver, and wiser than most boys his age. I'd rebuilt my company from scratch, stronger than ever. We'd moved into a quiet town near the coast. Peace had become our everyday gift. But sometimes, peace carries echoes of the past. That morning, I received a letter. No name, no address, just my initials. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, a single line was written, "Truth never dies." And beneath it, Derek's handwriting. My chest tightened. Derek was supposed to be in prison. I called the police immediately. They confirmed. He'd been released early for good behavior. My heart sank. After all this time, he was free again. I looked at Liam, playing in the garden. I couldn't let the past touch him again. That night, I locked every door, every window. Still, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing footsteps, imaginary or real. I couldn't tell. At midnight, my phone buzzed. A message. You took everything from me. Time to settle it, I froze. It was from an unknown number. I knew it was Derek. My first instinct. Protect Liam. I rushed to his room. He was asleep, peaceful, hugging his teddy bear. I whispered, "Mommy's here." "You're safe." Then I called Detective Harris, the same officer from years ago. "We'll send a unit immediately," he said. Minutes felt like hours. Then, a loud crash from the backyard. My pulse spiked. Someone was inside the fence. I grabbed the baseball bat near the door. "Stay calm," I whispered to myself. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Liam woke up crying. "Mommy, what's happening?" "It's okay, baby. Go into the closet, lock the door, and don't come out." He obeyed instantly, brave, like always. Then I heard the front door creak. A shadow moved in the hallway. My breath caught. "Derek," I said, my voice shaking but steady. He stepped forward, older, thinner, eyes wild. "You ruined my life, Elena," he hissed. "You ruined your own," I said quietly. He laughed bitterly. "You think you won? You think that boy's your savior? He's my son, and you're not touching him." He took a step closer. I raised the bat. "Don't do this, Derek." "Too late," he muttered, lunging toward me. But before he could reach me, red and blue lights flashed outside. Police sirens cut through the night. "Drop it," shouted a voice. Derek froze, eyes wide. "You called them," he whispered. "I always stay one step ahead," I replied. Officers rushed in, tackling him to the ground. Liam opened the closet door, trembling. "Is it over, Mommy?" I knelt, hugging him tight. "Yes, baby. It's over now." The officers led Derek away, handcuffed and defeated. He turned once, his voice low. "You'll never forget me." "I don't need to," I said. "You're already gone." Weeks later, peace returned again. But this time, it felt different. Final. I sold our old house and donated half the profit to a charity for women and children. Liam and I planted a small garden outside our new home. Every flower symbolized a memory we survived. On the anniversary of that night, we lit a candle. "For the truth," Liam said. I smiled. "For courage." Then he added softly, "For Dad too?" I paused, then nodded. "Yes, for Dad too." Because even from pain, we learned Liam hugged me tight. "You're the strongest person I know." "No, Liam," I said, smiling through tears. "We both are." That night, as I tucked him in, he asked, "Will we ever be scared again?" I kissed his forehead. "Fear is just a shadow, and we live in the light now." He smiled and closed his eyes. Outside, the wind was calm. The moonlight danced across the garden. I stood by the window, heart full, but at peace. For the first time, silence didn't frighten me. It felt like freedom. The past had tried to haunt us, but we turned it into strength. Love had defeated deceit. Truth had defeated fear. I watched Liam sleeping and whispered, "We did it, my hero." Somewhere in the distance, a new dawn began to rise, and with it, a promise that no whisper, no betrayal, no darkness could ever break us again, because we had each other, and that was enough. The end.